single day, I'm gonna make something great.
Hey guys, what it do? What's Poppington? You know me as Madam X, and this is Frequency Roll Radio. So, ooh, what's this? Hey, okay. All right, Charlie Wilson. Ain't that his name? I think that's his name. Let me see who this is. Oh, this is the Gap Band. So this is what back when he was with the Gap Band. You know his voice anytime you hear it. Oh, this is my song. I Found My Baby. All right, y'all. I just gotta go to my music app and find this song because I'm gonna want to hear this when I finish recording this car chat. But this is a car chat blog, dog, smog. This is a car chat. So let's talk about it. Guys, I had a little something on my mind. This one is going to be pretty short because it doesn't require me to get too elaborative or anything. I just have a question for you guys. Something I really want to know. Then they're going to play Jody Watley. I'm going to have to get her next. My mom used to have all of Jody Watley records. She was a Libra. She had every record there was to have. Anywho, so question. Guys, I have a question about... Well, before I tell you guys my question, you know I always got to go off on a whole side tangent. You know I'm a Cancer. I don't know if it's because I'm a Cancer or my Mercury is after my Sun. I don't know what it is, but I can't never walk a straight line. I just can't never do it. So before I get into the car chat, I'm on my way to get another motherfucking berry tea, no tea, all lemonade from Wendy's again, and they taking all my money because this would be about $10 I done spent on berry teas today. This is my second one today, but I just got a craving for like some really good juice, and they like $3.50 a pop for a medium. I wonder how much a large is. I might have to tell them to give me a large so it can last me all night. So anyway, if you guys listen to one of the last like 2 or 3 videos I posted, y'all know I ain't been to Wendy's. I don't really eat their food. I hadn't been there in like 5 or plus years. I'm sure it's much more than 5 years, but just to say modest, about 5 years since I had been to a Wendy's. And I went one day just for something to drink because I saw it on the... Well, no, I went for cheese fries and I saw this berry tea on the menu. But that particular day they were out of tea, and she asked me did I want it with lemonade, and that was one of the best days of my life. So I'm back for the second time today. Anyway, so my question to you guys is, I really wanted to know, why is there a lack of professional black astrologers? I don't care if you're African American, if you're African, I guess Indian would be more Vedic or something like that. Maybe I'm sure they got that whole community on lock. But I live in America, and where I'm from, I just noticed that there is a lack of black astrologers, whether you be professional or not. Just a lack of black astrologers that get notoriety or that are world renowned or well known in the astrology community. But like if you come on here to YouTube, there are a lot of great black astrologers on here. To me, they may not have been doing it for a long time. Some may be young, some may be old, but I'm just one of those people, things speak to your third eye. Like I really do believe everything you need to know in life is already within you. So somebody could tell you information, and yeah, you can go fact check and everything like that. That's great, but your soul and your third eye really tells you what's real and what's not real. So I can hear an astrologer who might be hood or ghetto or not talk as proper as some of the Caucasian astrologers. And this is no slight to Caucasian astrologers or white astrologers. I'm going to call y'all white. I just don't like saying Caucasian. To white astrologers, I mean, do your thing. Nothing wrong with that. But for the black man to be the original man and all of the knowledge to truly come from them, to me, it's disheartening to see a lack and not a really, really robust presence of them in the astrology community. Even though I see ones who, and even if they get a lot of views, yes, there are black astrologers on here, but I mean like world-renowned ones that are like really accepted and talked about in the astrology community. Like when you watch more of the professional astrologers on YouTube, you see they always kind of go back to white people, or those are the ones who are really renowned in the community. So and even case in point, for example, in my own hometown, so I live in Baltimore, Maryland, and we have I know you guys have probably heard of that NCGR, I think it's called. So that's the National Cosmic Geo. Let me see what the hell that shit stands for, because I'm not a person who your credentials mean anything. Credentials are great because it means you got that area of study. And I talk with my man about this all the time, because he's a big person who's all about like education, going the education route, getting the education. Not necessarily that it means you can't do something, but for certain fields and certain technicalities, you want to have certain education, because it just means you studied more. And of course, people put more behind your name, or they respect you more when they see you have a certain level of education. Like he's all the way up to like the master's level and things like that. So he's like, you're freaking brilliant. I need you to like finish your education. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Because like I told you, I go by my third eye. I know what's real and I know what's not. So unless I'm going to somebody like a doctor, and at the end of the day, I truly, most of me truly does not believe in modern medicine anyway. So I would be going to a herbologist who would study to where until recent times there's no real degree or certification for that either. But that is worlds of knowledge, generations of knowledge, centuries of knowledge passed down, and that's independent study. So anyway, even in my hometown, we have the you guys know the National Council for Geocosmic Research. So that's, hold on guys, I'm about to order my tea, okay? How much is this fucking large? Shit. Taking all my goddamn money.
How you doing? Would you like to try a baconated combo?
No, thank you. Can I have a medium berry tea, but can you do it with lemonade instead of tea? And that's it.
Alright. What size was it?
Medium, please.
Alright, so it's $3.59.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
You're welcome.
See, last time I kirked out, y'all like $3.59. What the fuck? You gonna take all my little savings? Just joking. Hold on, guys. Hello, how you doing? And I think they're starting to be like, she come here all the time, because I bet you nobody else replaces the tea with lemonade. So they know me, y'all. Thank you. You too. So anyway, even in my hometown, so that National Council of Geo, what do they call it? Geo what? Some bullshit. Geocosmic Research, right? So that's like a National Astrological Council. That's made up of a lot of astrologers, professional astrologers, people in the astrology community across the nation. So there are local chapters of that society, of that council, of the National Council. So here in my hometown, we have a Baltimore chapter. And the Baltimore chapter, thank you.
You're welcome.
The Baltimore chapter is called, y'all, this shit is like crack. They so good, but the cups are really, really big. So for $3.59, unless you're a juice whore like I am, it'll last you for a while. I ain't get the large, y'all. It was like 30 cents more, but I refuse to pay over $4 for this drink, even though it's quality, so I'll pay. But it's sugar. I don't need all this shit anyway. So anyway, we have a local chapter, which is the Baltimore Astrological Society. Now, I got involved, and I don't want to say involved because I'm not a member. I never really did too much with that society, but I came across or got more on a personal basis and kind of got involved with the Baltimore Astrological Society because I took an astrology class, and the teacher who taught the astrology class at a community college here in town, both of the teachers who taught the class were on the board for the, am I in the right lane? Okay. They were on the board of the Baltimore Astrological Society. So they were really tied into the events and the things that go on with the National Geocosmic Society. And they hold a lot of events and do a lot of things locally. So they'll have a lot of prominent and renowned people in the community, because it's all tied in. It's all a network with the local chapters from state to state and then back to the bigger chapters. So they have a lot of speakers come. They hold a lot of events. You can become a member, and they hold a lot of things that have to do with astrology, and they have speakers to where you pay for certain lectures. So usually they'll have like a lecture on a Friday, and then they'll have workshops the next day done by that speaker that show you different things that you can learn about astrology for a fee, of course. Usually it runs like $20 or so for a lecture or more, and then like $100 or so for a day of workshops. And usually the workshops last all day from the morning to the evening. So I came across that society because I took these astrology classes, and two of the teachers were on the board of the Baltimore Astrological Society. Now, I never really did too much with I've never done anything with the National Society, but as far as the Baltimore Astrological Society, I've supported some of their events. When there's a speaker I wanted to see, I'll pay and I'll go to the lecture. I don't do the workshops the next day because it's just ridiculous all day and the price on those things. So I usually don't do those, because a lot of that shit I can watch good astrologers on YouTube or just read and get the information. Although there's nothing like learning under a really experienced astrologer, hands-on, doing a hands-on workshop. So I've been to the lectures and things like that. Like, they had a lecture not too long ago. They hold them at like this mansion, and they had a lecture on the Sabian symbols. So that was a guy who wrote a book on the Sabian symbols. I forget his name at this time, and I'm not gonna hold this video up to go retrieve it, but he did a really good lecture on the Sabian symbols. So things that I'm really interested in, I'll go see. So even with this local chapter, of course, it's all white. And even in the class, when I took the astrology class, so the questions I pose is, are blacks interested in this ancient knowledge of astrology? Are they not interested? Is that why they're not in these places? Do we not know it exists? Or do the certain communities, do the white people who are in charge and who back these communities, do they sort of keep it local and in their own circles? And I sort of feel like it's a little bit of everything. Maybe I don't know if as many black people are into this. Now, when I come to YouTube, I tend not to think that, because I see a lot of black people on here doing tarot. And if you do tarot, I think anybody on here that's listening to this video, if you do tarot, take your time to start checking out some astrology. I think it'll make your tarot a lot better. And I think you will, if you have the time and if you have the interest, I think that you will get so much from astrology, you may not even be interested in doing the tarot anymore. And I know a lot of empaths, intuits, and psychics do the tarot, which is different than doing the astrology, because the astrology is based on hardcore planet placements, the energies, mathematics, because you talk about degrees and all this kind of angles and things like that. So it's not as freeform, I would say, as tarot. But they tie in so much. I would encourage anybody out there who's really into tarot to really get into astrology too. But moving on. So even in the class that I took, it was only 2 black people, and I would say we had at least 7 people, 2 black people and 1 girl who's like, she's black, and I just think of her as black. She's from the islands, and she's just black to me. I just can't see her as a white girl or of any sort of Caucasian descent. She's married to a black guy. I mean, she's just like a black girl to me. I don't even know if she categorizes herself as a black girl, but it's so funny. it's nothing about her that really looks black, but I never saw her as a white girl. Since the day I met her, I never saw it. Before she even spoke a word to me in that class, I never saw her as a white girl. And that's where it goes to show you guys, you know, black people are not prejudiced. We can't be prejudiced. If a black soul is really inside a white person, I don't even see him as white. But that's few and far between. Not phony ones, not ones who pretend they're for the black cause. But sometimes white people will really have a goddamn, so, you know, like, black soul or partially black soul, and you can really like tell those people. You can feel it in your soul. See, anyway, it was only two of us there that were black, and it's funny. The other black lady that was there, we have since formed a friendship, and I stay in contact with her, and I see her often, like on a weekly basis. And this was a class that I took like 2 years ago. So she's a Scorpio, and it's really funny because we were the only black ladies in the class. Of course, the two teachers are white. We were the only two black ladies in the class, and we're water signs on all of our top 3. And if you guys aren't in too much to astrology and you don't know what the top 3 are, I'm gonna get an astrology calculator up on my YouTube to send you guys to get your birth charts and things like that, so you can really know what I'm talking about when you watch some of my videos. But if you aren't aware of what I call a top 3, that's your sun, your moon, and your rising. And both of us are all water on the sun, the moon, and the rising. So she's a Scorpio, and she's all water on her rising and her moon. And then I am a Cancer, and I'm all water on my rising and my moon as well. So, we were the only two blacks in there. And then when I would go to these meetings that the Baltimore chapter would have, the Baltimore Astrological Society would have, it's all white people. And of course, they're like these well-to-do white people, not necessarily fancy smancy, and not every one of them was well-to-do. Like the teacher was Aquarius. So even though she was a cultured and well-to-do white lady, if you guys know Aquariuses like nice things. They're not always good with money though. They like nice things, but Aquariuses are more down to earth. Like most Aquariuses I know, no matter how fancy they look or how fancy they dress, there's a very homely, down to earth, want to live in the hood, or not saying all Aquariuses, but they don't have no problem getting like on a hood level or coming down with the common person. So she wasn't like a ritzy ditzy white lady, but most of those folks there are well-to-do. You know, you got the board chairman or whatever. She's running like $1 million company. So most of them are well-to-do. And for me, I'm not uncomfortable in being in white environments, but I'm at a place in my life, and I've been at this place for a while now, where I'm not going to pretend to be something I'm not. And I know you got to fake it till you make it, but I wouldn't compromise myself to fit into certain groups in certain areas. So, you know, I want to be able to be myself around a more cultured and diverse group. You know, I can act. I grew up in the county. I didn't grow up in the hood. So I know how to act like I have sense. I know how to talk. If you guys listen to my videos, you might say, "Dag." When you listen to my videos, you probably say, "Dag, she be cussing and she kind of ratchet, but damn, she knows some big words. Damn, she sound kind of smart." Because you don't have to, just because I may be, you know, I'm an avid reader, doesn't mean I'm not down to earth, or I can't relate, or I have to go around talking like that all the time, or put on airs to try to be something that I'm not. So when I would go to those meetings, to me, it was just always it was never, don't want to say uncomfortable, because I'm there for a purpose. I want to get the information. I want to meet some of these astrologers. I'm there totally I'm not even there to network, to be honest with you. I'm not even there to network. I'm there to get the information. So I won't say that I was uncomfortable, but it's kind of like a white person in a room full of black people, or you in a room full of Chinese people. There's a certain level of I don't fit in. No matter how, and I'm not a black person that goes around acting like they're white or trying to act sedity or anything like that. I just want to be my down to earth normal self. So it was kind of like, well, gosh, I'm interested in this stuff and I love getting the information, but this group really needs to be more diverse. So the teacher now, the Scorpio, she's older than me. Nobody in that class knew as much astrology as I did because, like I've told you guys on many of my videos, if you listen, I've been doing this basically since a teenager. I've started taking, sorry, I'm running water, guys. That is so rude. 1 second. I wash my hands. Every time I go outside and come back in, I gotta wash my hands. So I basically started taking it serious, like as a serious study to do this professionally over the last 2 to 3 years. But I've been into it, reading about it, and it's been my passion all of my life. Like so much so I can't even tell you the age where it started at. And I watched one of KRS's. Check out his channel if you don't know it. He's into Vedic astrology. I watched one of his channels about your 8th house, your north and your south nodes, and my south node is in the 8th house, and it really brought me to the understanding because the Scorpio friend will always ask me, well, when did you get into this stuff? When did you get into astrology? And I could never really say. I was like, as a child, I can't even tell you an age. I don't even recall. Like, that's how far back. I've always been conscious of it. I've always read about it. It's always been in me. And then when I watched one of his videos about the south node in the 8th house, because my north is in my 2nd, my south is in my 8th. It really, I mean, I'm telling you, it's not many astrology videos or people that I truly, once I watched that video, I'm like, damn, that changed my life. But watching his video, it didn't change my life because I knew what my purpose was. It just really put a fire under my ass to kind of let go and really move towards my purpose, because he was talking about how the 8th house, you basically came into this world from a past of occult knowledge. You came into this world. You were born into this world. It's in you to follow occult knowledge, be into things like astrology. And he even said some of the best, I think he said psychics and astrologers have a south node in the 8th house. And sometimes you may know things about yourself, but maybe other people don't believe them. Or maybe you're scared to showcase your talents. And I know my Scorpio friend, you know, Scorpios, they all about the truth and getting all deep. She might have been thinking, oh, she's lying. She ain't been into this since a child. But sometimes when you hear stuff, it's just like having proof. Like I told you guys, when you go find facts about things, some things you know, but maybe, you know, it just makes more sense to people when you can prove them with words and information and something documented. And that just was, it was just very enlightening to hear him say that about the 8th house, having the south node in the 8th house, because I knew inside of me, this had always been with me so far back that I can't even tell you an age where I started to get certain premonitions and then started to study astrology. So anyway, my Scorpio friend, she ended up, the Aquarius, she's older than me. So she's about 10 or so years older than me. And the Baltimore Astrological Society, the lady who was the Aquarius, who was a teacher of our class, in conjunction with a white guy who was a Taurus, they were on the board of the Baltimore Astrological Society. So she had asked they were looking for a board member. So she had asked the Scorpio friend of mine to join the board. So the Scorpio friend of mine joined the board, and I would go to some of the events and we would talk about it. Like, you know, what was going on with this Astrological Society, certain speakers that were coming, you know, just what was going on. And she was saying that one of the things that they really wanted to do, which I guess had a lot with them bringing her onto the board, was they wanted to have a more diverse environment. They wanted to have a more diverse board members, more diverse people who come out. Because like I told you, when I would go to these lectures, and not that it would be huge groups. I mean, you're talking between probably 15 and 20 or so people that would come out, but they were all white and it was not diverse. So you don't have any Latin people, no Spanish people, no Chinese or Asian folks, no Indian folks in these groups, just nothing. It wasn't diverse at all. And for this to be a thing where you call yourself the Baltimore Astrological Society, it was just like, wow, it's very limiting. It felt very limiting in my spirit to me to be there. Even though they had good speakers and get good information, it felt very limiting to me to be there because in my soul, I couldn't identify with the lack of diversity in this group. So I'm seeing it in the classes that I attend, and then I'm seeing it in the bigger local groups. And I'm sure if I was to go attend these big astrological national conferences, you're going to see some black people, but it's just not going to be on the level of the number of whites there. And it's so unequal. And I really wish more of people who were like me or culturally diverse were into these things or would be at these things. And I'm going to end this because I kind of got my point out, and I'm just asking you guys, why is it like that? You know what I mean? What do you think about that? And then another thing I saw, even on the national level, when they have these conferences and people are putting on workshops, or they're referring you to certified astrologers because now you can go. It's not a national certification. It's not accredited or recognized by any sort of education society, but you can get like a certification in astrology. And a lot of things that were on the NCGR's website for these conferences or people they will refer you to or people you get these certifications from are all white, or they're the astrologers that they have a lot of respect for, that they call renowned astrologers, they're all white. Every single last one. And I'm just like, wow, we had hardly any representation in this arena. But then I come on YouTube and sometimes I see brilliant black astrologers, Latin astrologers, you know what I mean? Indian astrologers. So it was just a question of mine because it's something I'm very passionate about. And it disheartens me to see so few of my people of color across the world and kind of involved in these things. I'm sure India is a whole nother thing because they have their Vedic astrology. But here in America, you know, it really is disheartening. So that's my car chat for today. I'm out of the car. I'm back home. So the car chat is fucking over. Deuces. I'm out. Frequency Row Radio, Madam X, and I love you.